you are in kindergarten or 5th grade, we are going to come together and make the same project. Because I think it's really important right now to focus on unity and focus on love and just bringing everybody together. So rather than doing 2 separate art projects today, you can make your artwork next to your younger brother or older sister or your cousins or your friends or even the adults in your house. You can all make this artwork together. Our artwork this week is going to be all about figures in motion. So don't be afraid to get up and move a little bit to see how your body can move around in the world and in space. We are going to be making super cool figures that are moving and dancing around and celebrating or being happy or whatever. To get inspired and ready for this art project, we are going to look at the artist named Keith Haring. Now, unfortunately, Keith Haring is no longer alive. He died in 1987, which is a long time ago. But he's a really important artist in our art world because he made these super popular cartoon style figures. They're very simple, just outlines filled with color, and they were always dancing and moving all around the place. Now, not only did Keith Haring make this artwork on paper, but he also became super famous for painting murals and putting his artwork in the subways and in the train stations and on buildings and all over the place. He was a rock star when he was alive. You've probably seen his artwork in something in your life too. Now, his artwork is more than just pretty. He also tried to tackle things happening in the world through his artwork. He used it to be an advocate for things that he cared very much about. As an advocate, he used his artwork to spread love and bring people together. He used it to talk about the environment and taking care of our earth. He used it to talk about all of us and how no matter how different we are or who we love or what we look like, we all deserve to be loved and cared for. So in that spirit of caring for everyone and loving everyone, we are going to create our own Keith Haring style dancing figures. First, we're going to check out how to move our bodies around and how to bend our arms and elbows and feet and knees in order to make dynamic and exciting poses. Now, don't get scared if you think, I've never made a person like that before, Miss Morningstar. It's okay. I got you. We are going to start with stick figures, something that you've all used and made before. Then we're going to outline them very much like how we did our bubble letters at the very beginning of the school year, creating those really cool border lines that wrap the whole way around the figure. From there, we're going to color it in and then add some really cool dynamic lines and movement lines around the figure so that it looks like it's dancing. Now, how you tackle this project is up to you. If you are ready for a challenge, or in my older grades, you can fill your paper with lots of figures. Have a really big party of dancers. If you are one of my younger friends, or you're a little nervous about making this artwork this week, you can simplify the project and just do a few. You can even add symbols like hearts and the earth and things that symbolize something that you care very much about in your artwork as well. So to make our Keith Haring inspired artwork this week, our materials are very simple. All you need is a piece of paper. It could be white paper or colorful paper, whatever works for you. A black marker or crayon to do some nice thick outlines that will make your designs pop. A pencil to do some sketching before we get started. And of course, your coloring supplies. So whatever that means for you, maybe it's markers or crayons or even paint. You choose. Once you have all of those supplies, a piece of paper, pencil, black marker or crayon, and your coloring supplies, come right back here and we'll get started.
Okie dokie, little artichokies. We are ready to make some artwork today. We have our pencil for some sketching, some black markers or crayons or something to make some outline lines that pop, our fabulous color selection of markers or crayons or whatever you could find, and of course, a piece of paper. Once you have all of that, you are set. Now, to get started, friends, we have to talk about figure drawing and stick figures. And we're gonna start on the back of our paper and do some practice. So first thing, just make a regular old stick figure. You start with a head, you make a straight line down, we V out with 2 legs, and you put some arms across. Cool. That's what we normally do. Now let's make it a little bit snazzier. One thing we're gonna wanna do today to our stick figures is add some hands with little lines sticking out. You're gonna wanna add some feet also. Cool, there is a standing stick figure. Perfect. Now let's make him bend and move a little bit more. So same thing, make a circle, make a straight line down. And now when I go to make my legs, make a tiny leg that comes out first. And then this part's gonna be my knee, and I'm gonna bend it down. Now it looks like I have a knee that's kicking out. And I'm gonna do a foot, bink. Now let's do one more. Another one that comes out, bink. I can make it kick down this way or kick up and look like it's running, bink, and a little foot. Cool, now I have some running legs. And all I did was change this guy by putting a knee right there. Now let's add some arms. I could make them go straight out, or I could make them bend at the elbow. So straight line out to the side and then stop a little bit and bend, bink. And now I have an elbow with a hand going up. Same thing on the other side and bink. And then of course, don't forget a little hand. Perfect. That is how we start to bend our figure so that it has some more dynamic shapes and forms. Give your figures some elbows and some knees. Now let's really get crazy with it and see what other kind of figures we can make. If we look at some of Keith Haring's artwork, like this one right here, we can make some of these figures ourselves. So we can make ones that look like they're dancing by making a circle head, straight body down. We can make a bending arm like we know how, like that. Don't forget a hand. We can make a hand that goes straight up, a bending hand. And then of course, legs just like we practiced up here. You can see how it bends over and down with a foot, and again, bent and down with a foot. That is the same pose as Keith Haring's. Let's make another one. If you wanted to break dance like this one, same thing. Instead of making the body go straight down, we're gonna make it go across. Whoa, like that. The arms then go straight down with some fingers coming out. And we need a foot going up in the air, a foot kicking out this way, and then another hand coming straight back. Now it looks like it's breakdancing. Cool. Keep trying these different figures and see if you can make some fun ones too. We're just practicing, boys and girls, so if you make a mistake or it looks a little bit silly or funny, don't worry. This is just practice. No need to stress out. You can even curve the body of your figure if you want and make it arch over. But no matter how you decide to bend your figure, I bet it will still look pretty cool. So as we continue practicing, think about making your figures jump, making them move, making them dance, or whatever you want. If you want it to even dab, you can make your figure dab. Pretty fun. Awesome. Once you've finished a little bit of practice, now let's try doing the real thing. Flip over your paper and let's make the real artwork right here. To start, boys and girls, let's give ourselves a nice border. Keith Haring often put a border so he has a cool spot for his artwork to live. So just using a straight line, create a border. Great. I didn't measure anything or use a ruler. It kind of looks cool and creative if your lines are a little wiggly. Now let's make some of those Keith Haring figures again, but this time we're gonna fill up our page. You can either choose to make them in a line like some of this artwork, or you can make your figures dance all around. Try to fit as many as you can. If they're tricky, just do 2 or 3, or if you want a challenge, really fill it up so it's a whole cluster of people all over. And remember, you can make them go straight or wiggle all around. If they're wiggling all around, don't be afraid to turn your paper as you do it. So let's just start by making some figures, just like I practiced before, with some arms and some legs and different body parts dancing around. To make them go different directions, I'm gonna turn my paper. And I'm gonna make them all different shapes and sizes. Because remember, we're all different and unique. Every time I make a figure, I'm going to turn my paper again. And if your paper goes off if your figure goes off the end of the paper, boys and girls, don't worry. It'll be pretty cool that way. Cool. Now my artwork is totally full of figures. As you can see, I even made some stick out from the edge. This guy's just coming in and waving. This guy's jumping off, and this guy's trying to climb into the picture. Super cool. Once I have all of my figures all over the place, now it's time to make them look like Keith Haring's 3D people instead. So I did it in pencil first, and now I'm gonna switch to my marker. And what I'm gonna do is outline my people just like how I used to outline my bubble letters. I'm gonna start with the circle of my head, go around there, and then after I do that, I'm gonna just do an outline that circles around and close to all of my body parts. I'm not gonna draw right on my stick figure. I'm gonna loop around and parallel next to it. So as I go around, I'm kind of using my lines as a guide, circling around my figure. And anywhere I have a foot, I'm gonna go flat around. Anywhere I have a knee, I'm gonna bend next to. And anywhere I have a hand, I'm gonna make a little circular attachment. Cool. So now I'm gonna do that to every person. Go around the head and then follow with a parallel line around each figure. Now take your time on this part, boys and girls. There is no need to rush your outlines. And if it gets a little bit silly sometimes and you think, uh-oh, that outline isn't good, well, don't stress. They will always turn out awesome. And we're gonna keep on filling up these people with more and more detail. So if you don't like something, keep going. I bet it'll turn out awesome anyway. Fabulous. And boys and girls, because I forgot to mention it before, one of the keys to making your people look really cool like dancers is keeping them apart. When you draw your stick figures, make sure to keep them socially distant from each other. They are not touching. There is some space in between. That will really help them. Cool. Once you have your people, then color them in. And Keith Haring always wanted everybody to feel included, so all of his figures were always colored in different colors. Now that your figures are drawn, let's color them in. Use your awesome coloring skills that you've been practicing all year long to go in and around all of your beautiful lines in your figures to make them pop out. Make each figure a different color for extra pizzazz and emphasis. Let's color them in. Remember, little wiggles of lines back and forth, not scribbles like that. Really make sure you fill in your whole figure so that it's totally solid. One thing that Keith Haring did often in his artwork to show and spread love was he would add some hearts or some circles to the inside of his figures' bodies just to make them feel a little bit more human. If you want to add some hearts or some circles inside the chests of your figures, you would be welcome to also. Fabulous. So colorful. I like it. It's pretty exciting. Now let's make them look like they're actually moving. They still feel sort of still, like they've been frozen in time. To make our figures move, just like Keith Haring, it's time to add some action lines. And action lines, friends, are just a few repeated lines next to each other outside of your figure's body. So if I put a few action lines right by these arms and hands, it will now look like those arms are waving, like this person is waving at me. If I want this person to look like they're dancing, I'm gonna put some action lines that are just one or two or three curves around those body parts. Now this guy is wiggling. So keep on adding action lines to each figure to make them look like they are moving and twisting all around. The key to action lines is more than one. If you just put one line, it's just a line. But as soon as you add a second one, whew, now he's dancing. By making the lines go this direction, now this guy looks like he's jumping. Cool. Oh man, action lines everywhere. For a final touch, boys and girls, you can add all sorts of extra line designs and shapes that you know to create some repetition and pattern all around. Just like another artist that we might know named Vinnie Hager. Vinnie Hager is a local Baltimore artist, and he loves to fill paper with really cool extra lines and designs. So you can take this up to the next level by creating cool repeating squiggles and patterns and lines, almost like our longest line challenge last week for my older friends. So once you're all finished, you can even add some extra different shapes like hearts and stars, and give them some action lines too, so they look like they're wiggling all over. Fill in any extra space that you might have with some cool wavy lines or zigzag lines or Vinnie Hager inspired background lines. Fabulous. You can add any extra color that you might want, boys and girls. You could color in some of these extra shapes that you put in your background to make them next level cool. Fabulous! Now you all have an artwork that is filled with happy dancing people that are unified in your picture with the way that you drew them, their action marks around them, and even that awesome border around the edge. They have movement with these extra lines. They're really cool, bent body shapes, and wow, how fun to emphasize them with all the unique colors. Great work! I hope you had fun creating this Keith Haring inspired artwork with me. Don't forget to upload it and submit it on Canvas so I can see how awesome your artwork is.